Stephen, it's Heat. A sequel to Heat. Heat 2.
It's a sequel prequel.
A sequel prequel. I had to search up Heat 2 and yeah, you're right, it's a prequel.
Yeah.
Which has changed my whole mind. I mean, I'm not for Heat 2. I'll get that off my chest right now. I think it's a fucking terrible idea. I don't know why. I mean, he's tried to give us his reasoning in the article. He says we're in the middle of a sort of backlash against comic book movies, and I think it's time for people to start being receptive to things like Heat 2 and this kind of genre having a renaissance. It's almost like Meg Ryan with rom-coms, but in this case it's a crime action. I don't think that genre's ever left. I'm not going to lie, it's been consistently there for my entire lifetime. Crime action movies.
Heat. I loved it.
That was one of the greatest movies of all time.
The mid 1990s. I think I was 18 or 19 at the time when this came out, and it's all I spoke about with my workmates at the time, and they'd seen the film. You know, I get obviously the big thing was Al Pacino and Robert De Niro sharing screen time for the first time, and they do it twice in the film, and they're incredible sequences, you know, and great acting. But then you've got Val Kilmer, John Voight in there as well, and Danny Trejo's in it. You know, so Tom Sizemore. There's a lot of big personalities in this film, and I mean, it's I always saw it as a one and done. Reading the article in terms of Michael Mann, is it?
Yeah.
The director and obviously the writer of the novel, which came out about 2 or 3 years ago. And reading the sort of idea behind it, this is the kind of thing that would have worked probably about 1998, when you could have maybe have got Pacino back. Obviously, spoiler alert, folks, if you've not seen Heat, Robert De Niro's character dies at the end, so he'll not be in the sort of
but it's a prequel
moments. It's set it back, and they're talking about Adam Driver playing the Robert De Niro character as the younger version of him.
He's way too tall though, isn't he? 6'4", fuck's sake.
It's rumoured.
De Niro's my height.
Capital's supposed to be rumoured as well, John. But it doesn't matter who they throw into this. The story was contained, you know, and it was done. I get he's got an attachment to these characters, and he's want to continue this thing, but I think it's just 30 years too late, if I'm being honest with you. This is the kind of thing you might have followed up in the late 90s with. You know, you could have possibly got Al Pacino back to do some scenes for the sequel sequences, you know, and obviously Val's no longer with us now.
Yeah.
I get his character has got a big part to play in this, the prequel parts of the second film, if you like, which sounds really weird saying that. But John, I'm not really up or down about it. Heat's, as I said, it's a very much a contained story. It's a contained moment in film history as well, getting that cast together. An incredible film, John, from start to finish. It's very frenetic if you look at it. Funnily enough, and like most films, like Michael Mann films or Martin Scorsese films, I tend to watch them once, because once is enough. It doesn't mean it's a bad film because I only watch it once and it doesn't have rewatchability. Of course it does. But these films are an experience for me, you know, and it's that first time experience. You can't get that back.
No.
Watching it again.
I was very young, Steve, when I first seen this film. I remember vividly watching it. I remember the scene of him obviously in the restaurant. And I loved that kind of shit. Even with the Fugitive, where you've got these two sort of characters who are cat and mousey. And they're kind of, I don't know, really big personalities, and then they finally get together on the screen. It's riveting.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, and then obviously the ending, it was fucking poetic, because they were almost like two peas in a pod. Yin and yang of each other, but very similar. And he's almost fucking grieving that he's had to take him out. And it's just, you get these two actors of that standard together to perform in that role. I mean, that is an event, Stephen, having Robert De Niro and Al Pacino together. Yeah. Not long after Pacino's won an Academy Award for the first time in his career. I think it was maybe 2 years later, after Scent of a Woman. So, I mean, the guy was in his absolute pomp. De Niro was still producing wonderful movies before he started phoning it in. And even then he was fucking great, because I remember I analysed this and whatnot, and that was much later on, early 2000s, and he was still pretty good. Meet the Fockers, he was the father, wasn't he, in that? Still good, different, but good. I can't see how you recapture that lightning in a bottle. Understand it's Mann and he's invested in it, but how do you recapture what made Heat so special without having Pacino and De Niro and Kilmer, and these big Val Kilmer was a fucking superstar in 1995. The guy was an absolute superstar. He'd been in Top Gun, he'd been in British star in Batman, I think, or had been in Batman.
Same year. Yeah, it was the same year, yeah.
The guy was a superstar. You've got
John,
massive personalities.
1995, and I'm going to use another film as an example because, again, it's a contained storyline that doesn't merit a sequel or a prequel. The Usual Suspects.
Yeah.
It's like doing that to that film. And I'm like, why? We don't need that. We've got a perfectly good film there. I get you might want to continue these characters, but again, it should have been done 30 years ago.
Yeah, because
I'll keep going back to that.
Yeah, because the actors are no longer here.
Yeah,
some of them, and then the other ones are too old. The two main guys are too old now. And we've seen in The Irishman. If you try to de-age them, they just don't move like they used to move. They're fucking old.
Well, they don't physically as well, but I think in terms of the sort of mental presence as well, it's not the same as it was.
And in Pacino's case, he doesn't even speak the same.
Because, no, he doesn't. But it's, I know they were playing actual, real people in The Irishman. But in terms of performances, I thought they were very good, but there's an edge not there anymore because they're elderly men. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's the physicality is a big part of it, but I think in terms of their delivery as well, it's not as it was. Whereas in Heat, I think this was peak Pacino. This was peak De Niro.
Yeah.
And I would say peak Val Kilmer as well.
So, definitely peak Val, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think...
Tombstone was a couple of years earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely peak Val.
I mean, he's third billing, in 1995 in this film. That's crazy when you think about it, but that shows the pulling power of the two sort of top billing actors. Yeah, I mean, I don't really watch. Yeah, I love Adam Driver. And I think Michael Mann as a filmmaker and a writer is a very good writer and stuff like that. But I think perhaps maybe it would have been better than just doing a fresh story. Using that novel to do a fresh story that's not get anything. Don't call it Heat 2, whatever you do. Do something else with Adam Driver, because Adam Driver's a phenomenal actor, and if you can get him on board to do something gritty, a crime thriller, a heist or whatever it may be, I'm on board for that.
And Stephen, we've seen this guy in so many different movies now. I mean, was it House of Gucci? Yeah. Ferrari? He was really good in that. Marriage Proposal. He was even decent in Star Wars, fucking car crash movies that they were. He was not the problem. So this guy is a phenomenal actor. So I'm not doing down on Adam or Michael Mann, but it's just, I've got serious concerns about taking a movie that's 30 odd years old and trying to bring it into the modern era with an all new cast, and it's a prequel. I just don't think audiences are the same as what they were back then. They've not got the attention span. It's just different era. And look, I understand there's quotes in here. We're in the middle of doing things budget, and that's not the quote I'm looking for. It's, what is it? He's talking about comic book movies being done and whatnot. Fucking hell, I've lost it. I've lost the thought there.
It's John speaking to NME.
Yeah, so it's here. Yeah, it's a huge brand, Heat. I don't know that Heat is a brand, mate. It's a singular movie that is one of the greatest movies ever made. And again, that's a selling point. Much like Shawshank Redemption, much like you said, Usual Suspects, movies of that time which were singular stories. That's this unique selling point in 2025, that you've not got fucking sequels and universes getting spawned out of it. Back then, they just made great singular movies and left them as singular movies. And they didn't have to spawn a trilogy. I don't think Heat's a brand. It's just a movie that's respected for what it is. A singular story that had 3 acts, brilliant performances, and it will not be topped. I mean, you're not topping The Usual Suspects, you're not topping Heat, you're not bringing out a Heat 2 with Adam Driver, you don't care who you cast. You're not beating the performances in that first movie. So you're right up, we just spoke about fucking John Lennon and Paul McCartney not getting together with David Bowie. In my mind, it would have been a mistake because they would have been held up against the Beatles. These guys are getting held up against Robert De Niro and Al Pacino in the mid-90s. Try to outdo the performance. You got to do it. It's not going to happen. There's some studios I've done within the industry. People are getting tired of superhero movies and are becoming more interested in pictures like Heat. I agree with that. But then people were always interested in pictures like Heat. I'm into superhero movies and I love Heat.
Yeah.
The two are not exclusive.
It's an original film, John. It's not a reboot. It's not a sequel. It's not, it's its own thing. You know, when it came out, it was phenomenal. And word of mouth of it as well was incredible, John. Pre-internet, just people talking about it. People talking about it in their workplace. Not talking about it in school because you shouldn't have been watching it, kids. But just talking about it in general, in the cinema, in the sort of foyer in the cinema, just these performances. And John, you talk about that diner scene, and it's one of the most incredible, interesting, tense moments in cinema.
Yeah.
Not just in that film, but in cinema. Just between these two powerful figures. One on the side of the law, one on the other side against the law, and the pursuit and the sort of cat and mouse sort of angle that they took this story in was phenomenal. And as you said, Heat 2's got a lot to live up to, and it doesn't matter who you cast in this. Adam Driver is a phenomenal actor, but even putting him up against maybe Leonardo DiCaprio.
That was the talk. That was the rumours that they were going to bring Leonardo in. That was
it's not going to work.
Yeah,
it's as much as I love Leonardo DiCaprio and Adam Driver, they're not going to be able to top that.
Stephen, the other problem is with it being a prequel, we know how it ends, and what made Heat so incredible. Like you said, first time viewing, you even lose the impact after multiple viewings. The first time viewing, what made it so incredible is you don't know what's going to happen with these characters. You're edge of the seat, joining them on the journey, and then it plays out and you know how it ends.
I'm trying to remember, John, there was a film that came out a few years after De Niro and Pacino. I can't remember what it was. But again, it didn't have a good film, as I recall. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was called, but it didn't have the same impact. Yeah, it didn't have the same impact on. And the reason it didn't have the same impact was because it had already been done in Heat. That was one of the big things about that film was these two legendary actors. Righteous Kill, yeah. Another good film, John. Very good film. But that aspect is taken away because it's already been done. And my dad, who's a big Robert De Niro fan, he likes Al Pacino, but I'm more of a De Niro fan because of films like The Deer Hunter and Taxi Driver. Was excited for this because these two, although technically they were in the same film, Godfather Part 2, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They never shared any screen time because I think the timelines were different, weren't they? So,
De Niro was playing Don Corleone when he was younger.
Yeah, the young, yeah. And I think that's where Michael Mann might have got the idea of doing the prequel, sequel thing, sort of in between the story of Heat, playing around either side of that narrative. I get it's an okay idea, it is, but I think it's just too late. I think he's left it 30 years too late for me. Much the same as George Lucas with the prequel trilogy. In the 90s, it should have been done, George.
That's the exact comparison that should be made as to why it isn't going to work.
Yeah.
Because ultimately the main selling point is De Niro and Pacino. That's why people wanted to see it. It's why people are still interested in it 30 years later, because of these two guys. They've only worked together in 4 movies in their career. One movie, like you said, they weren't even on the screen, sharing the screen together. So Heat, Righteous Kill and The Irishman. So it's an event when these two guys get together. And you could argue out of the 4, Heat, the one they face off, is by far the best. I mean, Godfather Part 2 for me is one of the greatest movies of all time, but they don't share the screen It's the son and the father when he's the son's age. That's the whole point. It's showing you the journey of Michael Corleone, how he's fallen into the pitfalls to an extent and unwittingly becoming this fucking monster. Whereas the two of them are together. So it's the best the two have ever done in terms of output together on the screen. That's the selling point.
Yeah,
The sequel, being a prequel, you need to have those characters in there. They're not there. Therefore, you don't have a selling point. And understand what he's saying. 20 years, rentals. He wrote the novel. First week, it was instantly #1 in New York Times bestseller. That's because with the novel, people were picturing De Niro and Pacino. It's now 2025. One's in his fucking 80s. Let's find out. Robert De Niro, how old is he? He's 82. Al Pacino is 85. They're too old to do that kind of movie. So it's doomed to fail. And it's not to do with the script, it's not to do with the characters, it's the actors. It's not to do with the actors that are getting cast either. You bring in fucking Leonardo DiCaprio and Adam Driver, they're two of the best actors on the planet just now, but nah. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, Robert De Niro's character gets killed off anyway in the original.
I'm just thinking the prequel aspect though. If you're telling the story of the two and how they build to that event, I don't know how it's going to work, Steve. I've not read the novel.
I mean, the only thing that can work really is getting De Niro in to narrate, do an audio sort of monologue or whatever, and Adam Driver's playing the younger version of him or whatever it is. I don't know. I think they should just leave it, John. I think Michael Mann should maybe make a really good crime thriller out of the material from that novel. Just rebrand it,
Yeah, I love how Michael... I love how it's always these crime sort of directors who want to save the movies. The movies don't need saving. You just need to keep releasing great movies. People all watch them. I've always watched great movies. They've not went away. Just because fucking Ant-Man grosses 700 million and it's the black sheep of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the rest are grossing over $1 billion in their peak, doesn't mean there's not great movies coming out at the same time. They've always existed.
It's all to do with demographics, John.
Exactly.
Crime thrillers are not going to be aimed at families.
Yeah, and they were never making over $1 billion at the box office. I don't know why they've got this sort of misty-eyed look back to the 1990s and 80s, as if Goodfellas was making $2 billion at the box office. They never made that kind of money. Like you said, Stephen, the reason these superhero movies made that kind of money, lightning in a bottle, people just enveloped in the universe. What's the word I'm looking for? Invested in the characters, and it's multi-demographic. So the grandchildren could go, the grandparents could go, and everything in between. That's how you make money. You ain't getting a multi-demographic crime movie. It's not going to happen. It has to be violent. Otherwise, it's not a fucking crime movie. So I don't get this bollocks they keep coming away with. Him and Scorsese not doing down their knowledge of film. They're obviously great filmmakers, know their shit. Great, but these kind of films have never went away. No one's making them. Eggers is making them. Tarantino's making them. Who's the other one? Blank on his name. Terrible.
Thomas Anderson.
What did you say? What's the second name?
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson. These guys have been making these movies for the last 20 years. Right in the midst of the Marvel stuff, movies have done great. I don't know what if I can tell you, Michael, mate. You don't have to save films. Films are very much there.